Okie dokie doke. Right, we've now entered the 2E0XVX shack, and this is my radio bench, and I've got my really nice sports seat which my mum bought me, really nice leather sports seat. And this is the shack. Starting off over here, I've got my main kilt switch to the shack, and the XYL bought me that, which I have a good mind to get rid of it. Anyway, I've got a World Atlas. It gives you all the call sign. It's an amateur radio World Atlas. And then we move on over to the control bench, and as you can see, I've got a 40 amp linear power supply and another 40 amp linear power supply. Over here I've got my ICOM 7100 all mode radio, and then I've got my ICOM ID 5100 there. I've got a High-Tira MD785 DMR radio. That's me MFJ 993 antenna tuner, and then I've got my Zoom spot hotspot up there with my next gen screen, one of my own built, and then I've got one of Peter's G7 RPG All-Star node here, and I've got another one over here on top of the linear power supply. And then the main units, that's the 5100 main unit, and that's the 7100. I've got my keyboard down here, and then I've got my SDR radio running here in the background on my monitor. Get away from that. This is only a cheap video camera, and it's got really bad barrel distortion on it. And then I've got a nice little 7-inch tablet which I use for doing my D-Star controllers. And then over here are some of my projects that I built while I've been messing around. And I've got my call sign, and if we lift that over, a big selection of handhelds, all manner of things here. I've got a DMR radio, PD785, I've got a TYT380, I've got my ICOM ID51 here, and over here I've got my Yaesu FT2D, and then behind that a whole manner of Baofeng radios. And then around here, Doug, is let's move on down to the first shelf. I've got all manner of things. I've got wire for building inductors and that sort of thing. A load of others. I've got a big selection of Raspberry Pis. That's a mobile ADS-B aircraft beacon which I built there, and I've got a few spare parts. And then down here I've got a big selection of spare parts, Doug. This is got everything in. I've got inductors, resistors, transistors, ICs, pigtails, you name it, I've got it in there. Got sockets, switches, wire, a big selection of antennas. I've got everything. I've got everything I need. I can just go straight to here, Doug, and just get anything I want. If I'm looking for a component, bang, straight in there, and job's a good one. So I'll move on over to the next part in a second. Just a quick one over here. I've got a whiteboard up on the wall where I keep a load of my stuff. We have to have a copy of our license on display at all times. You should do. A lot of people don't, but you should do anyway. I've got a whiteboard on there. I've got a load of my friends' all-star node numbers there that I can link on. And then move on over here. I've got my 2 certificates up on the wall. My foundation and my 2E0 license here. That's a photo that I did myself and got it printed out in a nice frame. And then we move on over to this side. This is my workbench area, Doug. Got a nice LED light here for working on. I've got another monitor here. These are servers running so I can control everything in the shack. I've got my little portable Zoom spot here which I take out. It's something I'm building for somebody here, a project. These are a couple of projects I've got here. I've got a GPS what's that clock? No, that's a whisper beacon, and this is a signal generator which I built. And then I've got straws full of stuff here and here. Anti-static mat, anti-static wrist strap there. And then I've got some bench power supplies and test equipment, signal generators, multimeters. I've got a I built that here. That is a GPS clock very accurate clock that is, pulled off a GPS sensor which I've got stuck around the corner, and then I have a little single channel oscilloscope which I built. I've got a little 2 70 centimetre radio here which I can use for talking to people when I'm over this side of the workbench. Moving on over to a little bit further over, I have my Weller soldering iron, my 800-pound soldering iron, and a few bits and bobs over here. A load of test leads on this side. There's a few test leads around here which I use for my multimeters and when I want to connect stuff up onto here. And I've got a few more drawers full of bits and bobs here. Got a few tools, test tools, load more components in here. Got loads of sockets, plugs, and all manner of things. You know, it's like SMA sockets. Load of ICs in here. Little tiny things full of all manner of things. And then I've got all my nylon spacers when I'm building projects. I've got about 5 packets of them. And then the drawer. We don't go into that one. It's not looking too good, that one. Filing cabinet full of all my goodies. And down this side, these are all my code plug leads for all my different radios, so I can zip to them and do some bit programming with the code plug leads. Anyway, let's move on over to the next part. 2E0XVX for another part. I forgot to mention Mick Lawrence 2017 Constructors Trophy I won from our club there, Doug. 2E0XVX. Just another thing here, Doug. These are my all my monitor page where you can monitor all the different who's connected to me, so I can see who's actually connected up on there. I thought I'd just let you know on that. I have that on there as well, and also I have my dashboard for my Zoom spot here. So I've got all my call sign database up on the screen there. So there's some of the things that I have sat right in front of me. When I'm working somebody, I've got all of the information to my hand while I'm on the shack there, Doug. Anyway, that's a little tour of the shack, and I hope you liked it. 7 3s.